will be one of the world's few floating bridges. Built on concrete pontoons as long as football fields.
The first pontoon was a little nerve-wracking. Everybody wondered if it would really float.
This bridge is one big challenge and a huge risk. Setbacks dampen spirits.
Very good, Dad.
Delays boost frustrations.
I can't believe this is taking so friggin' long.
But everyone's riding the learning curve.
Quick, son, forget about that.
No one on this team has ever built a floating bridge. Choice. They had to build a new bridge in Kelowna, British Columbia. The old bridge was a giant choke point. Bad in the off-season, but impossible when the summer playground is swarmed with tourists. 5 lanes to replace 3 was a no-brainer. But why another floating bridge? Because crossing Lake Okanagan is still the same old problem. The water's 45 meters deep at Kelowna, with hundreds of meters of mud below that. Too deep and too soft to sink columns to support a regular bridge, and too wide to cross with a single span. The solution is a bridge built on pontoons. But floating bridges are a bridge of last resort. There are about 12.5 of them worldwide. So contractor SNC Lavalin faced a big challenge in a dangerous business. This bridge is being built right up against the first floating bridge here, built 50 years ago and scheduled for demolition. Building so close to heavy traffic, 50,000 vehicles cross the lake every day, is a big risk. This man lives with that risk daily. Kevin Giberson of Vancouver Pile Driving. Marine Project Manager.
I think we finished the ballasting, the reshoot, check all of our alignment, and if we're in the ballpark.
Kevin Giberson has built on water for 35 years. He started as a deckhand. Now he's the boss.
Don't put anything now while we're ballasting.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not going to put it down now, but we're not talking now. We're talking before I grow this thing.
Okay.
You're in an operation right now. You finish that operation, and then we have to find out what the next one is.
Kevin Giberson's second in command is Kevin Hamakawa, Marine Superintendent.
Rick will be on one tug, and I'm going to put Gord as his deck engineer on the other tug. Everything is going to be done through radio communications.
He supervises the crews. He's 36, and with 15 years of Pacific Coast experience, he's seasoned.
My calibers show that right there is exact on the socket.
The Kevins are an unbeatable team, but they're tested daily.
Hello, Kevin here.
Very good, Mike. How can I help you?
1,320 calls. That's what he had on his bill last month. Huh? Surprising he gets anything done.
Yeah.
I think everybody in Kelowna knows him now.
1,320 calls. The Kevins mean business.
I don't know. No, I don't know. I'll get Gord to call you.
top of the bridge. Others supervise the crews flying in the steel and preparing the deck. But on the water, the Kevins run the show. And now, on an early fall day, they're about to haul a huge concrete pontoon into position. One of 9 that will support the bridge deck. They're built here, 6 kilometers north at the graving dock, a dry dock. The pontoons are as long as football fields and as tall as 2-story houses. Up to 7,000 tons of concrete and rebar each. And to some, it's a miracle they float.
The first pontoon was a little nerve-wracking. Everybody wondered if it would really float. There's a lot of concrete and steel in there. They're quite heavy.
But why shouldn't concrete float? After all, metal boats float. It's all about weight. A pontoon floats when its weight displaces the same weight of water. And as long as its sides are tall enough, then it stays afloat.
The first time I saw one float, I was pretty impressed myself that it actually worked. A football field floating. Now, the only excitement is getting them out fast.
Down at the bridge site, the massive pontoons must be positioned, lined up left to right, leveled up and down, then locked in place by cables running hundreds of meters underwater to 70-ton anchor blocks.
We can't get it now. It's out of the reach of the 3900, but we can fix that later today.
Kevin Hamakawa is focused this morning. If this steel plate was carpet, it'd be threadbare the way he's pacing. Things aren't going well with today's pontoon move. Tricky lake currents are pushing the pontoon dangerously close to those submerged cables.
They should be a whole lot further away from those anchor wires.
I'm marking them.
I'm very worried about that.
The current's pushing the pontoon sideways. It could damage the anchor cables.
Tell him whatever alignment he's looking at for his north-south, he better not go south of it. Because he's, if you look at the lineup, he's still way the hell out here.
That current is a wild card.
And that's kicking south dramatically now. Get him over here.
Yeah, you better get this head end north again, Don. It looks like the current's hauling yourself.
Rick, you want to start going to the north of that?
Kevin Giberson knows trouble when he sees it.
Okay, they should be pulling that right over to us now. You're clear past that, Rick. You can go straight north.
The Kevins dodged this bullet. They were too far from the action today. They need a new plan.
From now on, I'm going up there because that was too close.
Yeah.
That shouldn't have happened like that.
It's looking good.
I mean, we're all right, but I mean, if we're doing something like that and all of a sudden the wind comes up, we get one of them squally things happening, we're in big doo-doo.
Those two.
Now, the next move.
We could use the crossers for this, but...
Pushing the pontoon into place.
You're looking good, Don. Looking real good.
There's big risk here. The pontoons can't collide. A crunch could crumble the corner of the pontoon. That's why that buffer log is there, just in case.
Okay, we're just breaking the plane here now, Donnie. We're rotating pretty fast right now, but we're coming up to square here.
Okay, Compass Rebel, start pushing on it a bit. Roger that.
It's an uneventful move at first. Then, things go south fast.
Tie that rope for me, please.
The pontoons could collide in seconds.
Scott, untie this rope. Quick, Scott, forget about that.
All right.
Yeah. Pull that log this way.
This way. Shit. Oh boy, you'll get it. Just. You got it, that boy.
Okay, so Scott, I'll get you to monitor this log. Okay, you don't have to go all the way out there. Just protect the ends. Keep it in the middle here. You don't want any contact.
We'll just pretend that was nothing. I'm surprised you didn't vomit.
The tough part, positioning the pontoon, is done now. At least that's what Kevin Giberson hopes. But tomorrow, it'll be a different story.
This makes me want to puke even thinking about it.
Massive concrete pontoon has been nudged into place to build the world's newest floating concrete bridge at Kelowna, British Columbia. When it's finished, the old one will be demolished.
Tie us up there, Daddy boy.
Kevin Giberson should be sighing with relief, but he's just inherited a monster headache.
You know, this type of thing, I don't need this because it concerns me.
There's a defect in yesterday's pontoon. The front should be flat, but it's bulged out. There should be a gap between the pontoons. But Kevin Giberson is worried they're touching.
We have to make sure that this isn't touching. Right? Yeah.
Obviously, we like
God, I hope it's not touching.
should it?
It's going to be a pain in the ass for me.
Grout, a bonding agent even stronger than concrete, must be poured between the pontoons to seal them together. But if the pontoons are touching, the grout can't get past the bulge.
You know, for us, it's a freaking grout blowing here. Just makes me want to puke even thinking about it.
No,
We'll, you know, so it's going to take some work to convince ourselves that we're okay there. But
Kevin's fighting two headaches here. The first is the bulge in the pontoon. The second headache is the seal. A thick piece of rubber shaped like a horseshoe on the end of the pontoon. It's designed to keep wet grout out of the lake. But with the bulge in the pontoon, it may not be tightly compressed.
Hey, Gordon?
That's this man's problem. Eduardo Padilla, resident engineer.
We're running the risk of releasing some grout into the lake, which we don't want. The lake is classified as drinking water, and one of our priorities has always been that nothing escapes to the lake, no contaminants, no oil, no grout, no concrete.
Kevin's engineered a fix. He's added extra shims to widen the gap between the pontoons so grout can slip past the bulge. But that seal between the pontoons is a big question mark. So they test it. If they can pump the water out of the gap and it doesn't rush back in, then the seal is tight. A diver is sent down to eyeball it too.
So you can see over there. You read it about here.
The seal's tight. Time for a decision.
You don't want that smoke on.
It's a go.
Send me the paperwork, but yes, let's go for it. Let's get cracking.
Well, there you go. We're still building a bridge.
I like it.
But the next night, everything runs off the rails again.
Yeah, like I said, let's get this all cleaned up.
Just as he's about to start grouting the gap between the pontoons, Kevin Hamakawa is stopped dead in his tracks. He's been shipped the wrong grout.
So, we're left dealing with a shortage of grout. It's not very good. Not a very good day. Yeah, it's a real shame.
Rob Steve with SCR Contracting calling here. I'm on the bridge site right now, and I'm in a panic for some Portland expanding grout.
Now, Dave the grouting contractor is scrambling, calling local suppliers after hours to find the right grout.
Steve, it's Dave with SCR Contracting calling. Hey, Andre, it's Dave. Looking for any after-hours numbers you might have where we can scrounge up some grout here. I'm running out of options.
It's a big blow. It delays everyone 24 hours.
It's not just us, it's the steel erectors coming in behind us and the concrete depth crew behind them. And so it's a major disappointment.
Can I repeat that?
But we move on.
Boom up, load down.
But Kevin has a backup plan.
I think Kevin says we'll get someone to Vancouver in the morning and drag her again in the morning.
It's close. Close to dark.
See you guys.
There will be more close calls before this bridge is done. But the last thing anyone here would expect is that soon, Kevin Hamakawa won't be around to deal with those close calls anymore.
This is a very big job. I call it the monster, and when the monster needs something, you have to feed it. And if you're good enough to supply that, it'll eat it.
The world's newest floating concrete bridge is crossing Lake Okanagan right on schedule. No mean feat. They're difficult structures to build. Tougher than fixed bridges. And no one on this team has ever built one. So everyone is learning on the job. Off at the graving dock, it took 5 months to build the first of 9 concrete pontoons to support the bridge. Now, it takes only 10 weeks. Things move at a quick pace here. A rookie sees chaos. A veteran, structure. Numbers run one way down the grading dock, letters the other, just like the grid on a road map. So everyone knows where the 19 line is.
Hey, can you go see Jamie on 19 line? He's ready to start pulling panels down there.
Ed Wright, the crane coordinator, is the eye at the center of the storm.
When both radios go off at the same time, sometimes neither guy can hear.
Reach out the work at the top of the guards.
You have no idea how much I love getting rid of these things at the end of the day.
The pressure's always on here. Watch this crew fly. They're making dance floors. Forms that concrete will be poured on to make the top surface of the pontoon. They can knock dance floors together in 25 minutes. Once the cranes fly in the forms, the rebar guys lay down reinforcement for the concrete crews. It's finicky work. Concrete cracks. Luckily, there's a way to prevent cracking.
One thing we do to help minimize that is keep the concrete moist-cured or wet. This type of concrete is quite thirsty, I like to say. It's really starving for water. So we try to keep the moisture to it for a full 7 days, and that really helps.
Even though they've never built a floating bridge, It's a seasoned crew, more than anything else, that keeps this place energized on a brisk November day like this.
Awesome guys. Awesome guys.
Everybody here is from out of town pretty much, so everybody knows everybody.
If something happens, people kind of laugh it off, let it slide.
I had a vasectomy about 8 years ago,
Everybody's got a sense of humor.
and I'd rather do that again than tie steel. That's just it.
Some jobs, like a carpenter's, demand special skills, like wall climbing.
A little wall climbing. Monkiness. Have to have strong upper body to climb walls. 20-foot walls all day. It's a job. It's fun. You know, it's keeps you in shape. I just turned 40, so keeps me in shape.
Daryl, you okay rigging that with the chains?
Ed Wright has operated cranes for years. This is his first gig coordinating them.
How many lifts of bar you got there, Chris, for the ruddy?
I got one more.
When I'm done here, I'm going to go get a job as an air traffic controller. That would probably seem easy after this. Now I know, actually a friend of mine is a controller. Now I know what his job's like.
And watching the cranes from below, it can look like one near miss after another.
It's an optical illusion. Looking up,
I guess I'm doing that.
when crane 2 crosses over top of crane 1 from down here, you know, it's impressive looking, but there actually is almost 30 feet of separation.
Ed's big problem is boom conflict. That doesn't mean two cranes will collide, but their loads might if they both trolley out to work the same area below.
We got one more lift of bar going in with crane 2, and then he's coming to see you.
And that's when Ed wins friends deciding who goes first.
You can't keep everybody happy. Like the rebar guys want the crane, the panel guys want the crane, the laborers, of course, their job's as important as everybody else's. They want the cranes. It gets interesting. Pretty well everybody hates me by the end of the day because they think I'm ignoring them, but you get used to it.
The graving dock hums like a finely tuned machine.
You ready on this side for me?
Susan Baylog is the quality control inspector.
I'm just gonna go check over here for a quick sec.
No concrete work proceeds to the next step without her say-so. But these guys are confident they'll get the green light. That's pretty much a given. They've been doing this a long time. A massive wall form dangles overhead, just waiting.
Okay, Rob, I think it's all good to go.
And on Susan's go-ahead, it's flying in. As she moves on to inspect the next cell.
Excellent. Oh, they're looking great.
Once again, on Susan's thumbs up, the next panel sails in. Back at the bridge site, something's different now. Just a couple of months ago, Kevin Hamakawa's partnership with his boss was rock solid.
We make a good team. We complement each other pretty good, and he kind of rules with an iron fist, and I have a little bit more of a soft side, so it works good.
Now the Kevins are toasting a working partnership that's run its course.
It's a job well done. The years I spent with you were incredible. I learned a lot from you. You're like a rock, so thank you for everything that you've taught
The
me.
thing is you're not far, so we can still get together, have a drink, and talk about what's happening.
Kevin Hamakawa's quit the bridge to take a bigger job.
We go back a long ways there, okay?
Now, without his trusted 2IC, Kevin Giberson will have to navigate solo through more than a few tough spots before this bridge is done. Have passed. It's a big day at the graving dock.
start pulling all of the stuff on this walkway.
Tomorrow, they float out a pontoon they've been building for 10 weeks. This was the graving dock during construction. This is how clean it has to be today.
Forest pressure wash, you can eat off this one, which is probably cleaner than the lecture rooms. Don't want to be a bad idea.
No debris can escape into the lake.
This is the crappy part. I mean, you get down to it where you're picking up all the minuscule little metals, and the environmentalists are doing their little walkabouts and making sure everything's good. And you know, we're on Okanagan Lake, right? Environmentalists are pretty fussy about looking after that, which I don't blame them. I mean, I'm on board with that.
So how do they get the pontoon out? They flood this graving dock. The graving dock is just a big bathtub. It takes 8 to 10 hours to fill it. It's 12:30 now. By 7 p.m., a lot of water has poured in to lift the pontoon, but it's not enough. The water in the dry dock must be level with the lake to tow the pontoon out. But by 10 o'clock, it's clear something is wrong. After 10 hours, the graving dock still isn't filled.
I thought we'd have these gates out of here by now.
Now it's midnight, but the water's still not high enough. And at 3 a.m., it's still not high enough.
Yep, 58 inches. So another 8 inches to go down.
Foreman Ray Leach should have lifted the gates to the dry dock hours ago.
I can't believe this is taking so friggin' long. And you know how it is. It's like watching paint dry, eh? Everybody's just waiting to jump on and do something, but there's nothing to do yet.
As it turns out, the water's still not level with the lake because this is a smaller pontoon. So more water is needed to fill the bathtub.
This one's about 5 feet less, I believe. So basically that's 5 more feet of water. The whole, the whole width of the pontoon, that solves the mystery. Just hang on a sec. Hey, Dad! Don't pull that one!
It's been a night. Ray has another problem. He's dealing with a stuck knife blade, too. A knife blade is a thin plate that overlaps the join between gates to make them watertight. Earlier, divers loosened the bolts that hold them. But this knife blade won't budge. So at 3 a.m., Ray's called the divers back to finish the job they thought they'd done hours ago.
No, they're not very happy at all, but it's got to get done. We thought we'd have this done hours ago, so I don't know if we're behind schedule, but everybody feels like we are. Oh, come on. I think they're having some trouble with the helmet. I think maybe the radio's not working or they can't get it connected quite right. Oh, get this guy in the water. Got to go over there and throw him in pretty soon. Oh, man, I hate this waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting.
While the diver works on the bolts, Ray just can't resist measuring again.
Oh, we're so close. We're so close now.
Within minutes, the water in the dry dock reaches lake level. And finally, the diver's done. It's 3:45 a.m.
Beautiful. That's where it's supposed to go, yep. Alright, let's get that fucking show on the road. Come on, let's go. There's no time to turn around now. Oh, now we'll get the heavy lift gear on and get these gates out of here.
And at 4 a.m., 6 hours later than he hoped, Ray's finally lifting the first gate.
Nothing to it. They're only 40,000 pounds, so that's not a lot of weight.
By daybreak, the gates are gone. Now it's Kevin Guyverson's show. It's time to move the pontoon.
Put it in idle, Patrick. Put it in idle.
Okay, we got scatter room on the north side here again.
Number one.
Looking for this to go out nice and slow and easy in a straight line so we don't crash and bang. It's a simple life I lead. It's just this getting out without too much damage.
Now that the pontoon's gone, Foreman Wayne Saglone's crew must muscle those huge 20-ton gates back into place to make this wet dock a dry dock again.
And the divers will be going in the water in a few minutes, and any powder we get out of it.
It's always a long day. First, these stands are positioned to hold the gates.
Right above your bubble, Dia. Go down on it. Down on it? Down.
The diver is Wayne's eyes down below.
Swing left. Swing left. All right, I'll be over here waiting for the next one. Roger that.
A massive I-beam is lowered on the stands to hold them in line.
Okay.
Then it's time to lower the first gargantuan gate. The gate must be slipped into this channel exactly. Wayne must hit his mark with a 20-ton gate.
Are we on our mark? All stop. Roger, all stop. How's our lineup? They're just checking it out now.
Once the gate is in the channel, it has to be lined up perfectly so the other gates fit in.
Hold it a sec, I gotta go that way a bit. We gotta lift it just a touch and go south. Roger that. Okay, we look good, Ian? Just a sec. Tell me what you got, John.
With the gate positioned, Wayne lowers it.
Are they happy with the lineup? Yeah, they're just checking it one more time here before they take a straight off the load. Are you on your mark?
It looks good.
They're happy up here. Are you down there? Yeah, I'm happy down here. Okay, coming down on it. Roger that.
Success. But now, with the second gate going in, those troublesome knife blades have to be reinserted. The knife blades fit in a slot between the gates. Anything less than 3.5 inches is a tight fit.
What do you got at the water level here? The 2 3/4.
It's tight, but Wayne will try to force the blade down the channel. A tight fit will make a watertight joint.
Maybe go all the way down.
Okay, and how's that? Well, that's beautiful, but it's gonna come down another 2.5 feet. Is it tight on the sides down there?
The knife blade just needs some old-time persuasion. But if this doesn't work, nothing will.
Did it move? Did it move? Let's try one more. Yeah?
Sounds like it's bottomed out. I don't have a look. That would appear to be good.
tighten up all the bolts, and then he's done. Hey, Mitch, fire up those 2 pumps right there, the 3-inch. Start cranking them.
All in a day's work for Wayne Sagbone's crew.
It didn't go exactly tickety-boo, but it went actually really quite well.
Some days are just meant to be tickety-boo days. Some aren't. Down at the bridge site a month from now, Kevin Guyberson is going to have a day he won't forget. 4 weeks later, work continues around the clock at the floating bridge in Kelowna, British Columbia. But this December snow squall won't stop anything. Yet.
It's supposed to come up to 40 south. Yeah. Let's hope it stops snowing by then.
Marine Project Manager Kevin Guyberson will position another concrete pontoon tomorrow.
Well, they probably need them in there. We got a whole crew of carpenters that are going to have to dig out all their stuff.
Today, his crew needs to rearrange the cables that hold the old bridge in place.
Let this one down, take off the whip line. Let this thing rotate now, because you got a hold of that one.
Cutting and moving the cables is a day's work. The next day, Kevin planned on moving that pontoon a couple of days ago, but there's no predicting big moves like that in this climate.
You try to call something like this 2 weeks in advance, basically is asinine. You can't be done. We're so dependent on weather. There's one little glitch out there, could throw it off 8-10 hours, and that's just the name of this game. I do not panic for 12-hour glitches. I'd be dead.
All's ready to move the pontoon, except a tugboat skipper hasn't shown up yet. He may be stranded in a mountain pass.
If he's not here, it doesn't happen, because I need the 3 boats to do it.
Wind could be a problem, but Foreman Don Floyd's not worried about it.
Not today, no, it's not too bad. It's calm enough today, and it's coming from the right direction for us, so it's going to help us out a little bit.
The Sear money is on doing the move today.
Yeah, I've been told we're moving in within an hour.
But daylight's fading.
So it's still going to happen today?
So right now, yes.
In the daylight?
Probably not.
The missing tugboat skipper has arrived at last, but Kevin's pacing.
So what do you figure, Kevin? I figure I might call the whole thing off here, then do it later. But right now, I haven't made up my mind yet.
The wind is picking up. The water is choppy.
Yeah, I'm not liking this.
Still, it's never an easy decision to cancel. But what Kevin hears next from the weather office tips his hand.
It's too risky to be farting around here with, with this threat of wind. So, anyways, I'm calling it off. And it's going to blow up to 40 tonight, or potentially, and that's just not worth the risk, especially at night.
The next day couldn't be better. There isn't a breath of wind. It's a pontoon perfect day.
This is what we need. You just need to have a nice calm break here, so if something does go wrong, you don't end up in a catastrophe.
This move is trouble-free. Excitement-free, too.
This is really boring.
Yeah.
I like it. I really, really
don't like the excitement?
I like boring. Boring suits me fine here on a day like this. I gotta do my pacing thing here, that's what I do. I think better when I'm moving. Keep both ends coming in.
And with the pontoons closing, the boring part is over.
Okay, push ahead, Badge.
Yeah, you want me to speed up?
Yes, I want you to come up, push ahead.
Roger, bud. Push ahead on the stern or just where I am?
I want you to push right where you are there, Badge. Just push ahead. Hold us in.
Roger, full throttle.
Oh, I don't know. You need full. Just push us in.
Half throttle.
The buffer log is in place. The winch is working. And another pontoon slips smoothly into place. Up at the graving dock, it's a bittersweet time. They've mastered the art of building big concrete pontoons, but soon it'll be over.
We're done the bridge, we're going to move on to something else. Nothing's forever in construction.
As for the camaraderie, Rusty Bakewell won't miss some guys.
And I can't really say I'm going to miss them because I might be going to the next job with them still, right? Some guys you don't want to go to the next job with too, right?
Soon, the graving dock will be a ghost town. But its legacy, 9 massive concrete pontoons, will live on for decades floating 6 kilometers south on Lake Okanagan. Now, they've just got 6 months to finish building a bridge on top of them. Months have passed. Time for a spring celebration in Kelowna, British Columbia. It took 3 years, but the bridge is ready. It's a day for politicians to bask in a job well done. And for a tip of the hat to the construction crews who did the work.
They were here in the bad weather, in the good weather throughout. They are the ones that built it. They are the ones that delivered it. Say thanks to them for the exceptional work they've done on behalf of all of us.
There's nothing like a thank you from the Premier. But thousands are here to catch a glimpse of the hometown legend the bridge has been named after.
Finally get home, cross the bridge on time. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming the former Premier, William R. Bennett.
Is everyone ready? Ready. 1, 2, 3, cut.
The crowd is a surprise. No one expected a turnout of 15,000. Bridge builders are stationed along the bridge to answer questions. Kevin Guyberson's here.
This top one right here, that's 15 feet below the surface of the lake bottom.
Kevin Hamakawa is here too.
So that means that the link is actually down about 24 feet.
The Kevins don't see a lot of each other now, but they remember their good old days on the job.
For some of the nights we spent out here, I thought I'd never see this day. Many nights.
One day, this will be another of their good old days. The day they watch thousands strolling on the bridge they built.
I feel awesome because I know the blood, sweat, and tears that a whole lot of people invested in this.
Hey, thanks for building the bridge.
Take care, guys.
The next morning, the new bridge is open and it's the same old traffic jam. But only 2 lanes are open. They're still working on the access ramps. Many of the workers have moved on. A skeleton crew mans the graving dock now. But Kevin Hamakawa is hanging around. He quit his old job building the bridge to become its manager. Who better to recruit?
Did they pick the right guy?
I think they made a pretty good choice. I know a lot about the construction, a lot about the anchoring system. I know the bridge inside and out.
So they picked the right guy.
They picked the right guy.
Kevin Giberson will be around for another year. He's staying to demolish the old bridge, which he feels is an engineering marvel of its day as much as the new bridge is today. Often, Kevin thinks of the old construction crews that built the first bridge, and what the crews 50 years from now will think of the guys who built this new bridge.
Hopefully 50 years from now, some kid will be building another one here and looking at this and going, geez, those guys, they done a heck of a job. That's all we can ask for, I guess.